There. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Sunday program. Shishan Ben Myers is going to give the talk today. Thank you, Ben. Ben has been practicing Zen for 20 years, close to 20 years now. He studied with Janadreka, just an eccentric Scottish Zen priest who was a student of Blanche Hartman at San Francisco Zen Center, and had Jukai with Janadreka and was ordained a priest on Jana's deathbed 7.5 years ago. We did a more formal ceremony with Beata Chapman and Mira and me and Ben at Santa Cruz Zen Center almost 3 years ago, I think. It was during COVID 4 years ago. And Ben was Shuso, led a practice period at Jikoji approximately 2 years ago. And today he continues serving in several other sanghas and contributes to ours. As a primary teacher and priest in the Zen-Kei Sangha, which is mostly online, but it's sometimes based at the Glide Cathedral in San Francisco. So thank you, Ben, for joining us, leading this, giving this talk today. Let me know anything you might need from this control tower where we're at. So thank you.
Thank you, Doug. I was trying to unmute and prepare at the same time. Unfortunately, I am not able to multitask in that way. I try very hard, but I'm not equipped. I need more hands. All right, so today, hi. Today, I'm going to start with a brief introduction to myself, and then, yeah, I will play my talk, and we'll go to question time. So you'll get it. It's pretty basic. Anyway, I want to introduce myself. My name is Shishan Ben, and I've been given the honor of being a Black Robe priest, which means I can give talks and share the Dharma as I understand it. But I cannot transmit people, which is fine. I'm not I don't feel equipped or prepared to do that. So I'm here today with Deepaz Zendo, which I deeply appreciate in a powerful way. So I'm Deepaz is a very appropriate name. I have various friends and acquaintances with others and those online today joining us later today. My very dear friend will be giving Susan will be giving a talk on her way seeking mind to a different sangha and a different Zendo. There's also online. And with the other person that ordained me in this location in my background, which is Monterey. I'm sorry, Santa Cruz Zen Center. So in the meantime, I've been asked to give a talk on disability, my experience with disability, and this is, I want to emphasize that this is just my own experience. My co-priest Mira is also disabled and does a wonderful job of also sharing what she understands of the Dharma. And she was ordained with me in this location. So anyway, this is the talk I prepared. Let me see, get it. I would like to thank my original teacher, Jana Draka, her teacher, Zenke Blanche Hartman, my current teacher, Doug Jacobson, and all the ancestors in my lineage. I am physically disabled with MS. My voice is awkwardly slurred. I often cannot eat without assistance. I no longer walk easily, and I sleep 9 to 12 hours a day. Not convenient. I have developed a creative mentality like many with a disability. I respond to each new situation with the understanding that it will likely never happen again and has likely never happened before. So the new situation defies our human tendencies, including the search for patterns. With this in mind, I turn to technology to solve many issues. One solution was that I bought a voice assistant device so I don't have to walk around to change lights or close blinds. I still cannot walk downtown, but my nearby needs are taken care of. Another solution I use is AI that I use to clone my voice. I write out my talk in a text document, then I have my AI voice read it. I spend a fair amount of time choosing the most intelligible reading of my words, then export them into sound manipulation software. After hours of tweaking silences and removing undesired words, I export the finished product and post it online. Ideally, I then play it while I am present so I can answer any questions. This talk is the original written words and the generated AI voice of one that has been called a bodhisattva and has taken the bodhisattva vows. I hope that I have seen you as a being. I hope that I have helped dissolve delusion with these diluted words. I hope that I have opened new learning gates for you. To me, the Buddha's way is unsurpassable. I hope you become what you find unsurpassable. All right, so that's my brief talk in using the method I described, where I write down what I'm going to say in a text document and have AI read the words. So, I think it comes out pretty well. That's actually it's not my final cut. It's far along the process. I would say around 80%. There are a few things I really don't like about that audio clip, but ultimately, the little mistakes are inconsequential. So, I hope that was clear, and I am happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Ben. I just want to say that your use of technology is really wonderful. The voice that you selected, it sounds like you, and it was startling the first time I heard you, because I'd been used to, since I've known you, with very deliberate cadence that you've had, and the flow of your speech was just wonderful. I remember asking you some time ago, because your speech was slowed down, I tended to speak slowly to you. And I asked you, so when you listen to podcasts, do you slow it down? He said, no, I speed it up to 1.5. And so I thought, you think somebody's actually mentally slow because of how they speak, and yet that's not the case. Your neurons are firing. And so I just honor that in you, Ben, and your resilience. So thank you for Randy.
Hey, Ben and everybody. Really appreciate that, Ben, and I'm always moved by your wisdom that you share and insight that you share. So I guess 2 questions. One is, in terms of the voice in that, is that actually your voice that's then strung together with the text? I'm curious if that's your voice. And then the deeper question is, I'm taken by how you talk about, for you, the pattern that we fall into, patterns, I guess, patterns of, doing things, whether it's the way we go walk in our house to go brush our teeth, or to go towards something. And that pattern recognition inhibited, I guess, because of your limitations. But then that opens up this whole door that you have termed as creativity. So in the everything being a new experience.
Understandable.
Sorry?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that was my question. Just to, if you could elaborate or talk a little bit more about that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for your kind words and feedback, Randy. I really appreciate it. Yeah, so first of all, see, so I want to say that is my voice. It's actually my voice from a few years ago. And what I did is I provided a voice cloning tool, a sample of my voice, and I chose a sample that where I was not always super clear, but I was fairly clear and intelligible. And then had to generate a clone of my voice. So, but that is my voice, and I really appreciate the quality of it that was created by the software. But moving on, let's see if I can remember the second, because that was a very interesting question. Would you repeat the second part of your question?
Sure, thank you, Ben. That's fascinating. The voice, it's really astounding, and definitely one of the best uses of AI that I've seen and heard. That I guess I don't know about. A lot of it is I don't know about. The question was in terms of you were talking about patterns. We're in patterns. I think physically. I think you were talking about in terms of physical patterns that we're used to and into, but it may be mind patterns as well, and how now, given where you're at, everything is new and it becomes everything is a creation, a new creation. So it's a creative experience. And wanting to elaborate on that.
Right. So, it was briefly mentioned that I listen to podcasts at 1.5 speed because I have so many podcasts that I've listened to. And actually, I don't feel comfortable going beyond 2.5 speed because it just becomes sort of jumbled together. But one of the podcasts I listen to is Freakonomics Radio, and in which they discuss a lot of psychological topics, and one of which is, I think this was Freakonomics. Maybe it was one of the other ones. Anyway, they talk about how we habitually our brains just create patterns based on what we do. So we we get used to going getting up and going to the bathroom, let's say. We create a sort of script in our mind of first I get up and then I walk down the hall, which involves turning right, going through the door, turning left to go down the hallway, go through another door to the bathroom, sitting down on the toilet, and then doing your business. So you sort of create these scripts and routines in your mind, and like because you repeat them so often, you become habituated to them, and they just you just you just don't think about it at some point. You just do it. You're like, my bladder is ready. All right, do it. Act act on that. And so unfortunately with my disability, I had to sort of reset and think about like instead of walking down the hallway, all right, I need to add a few extra steps of get up, sit down in my wheelchair, roll down the hallway, or get help rolling down the hallway, get help going into the bathroom and sitting down on the toilet, and like don't feel that's a sign of disability, just a sign of the natural course of things. So be aware of what limitations you're now dealing with. So, but also don't fixate on that pattern being totally appropriate at all times. Maybe sometimes I feel good enough to go on my own and go without that any assistance to sit down on the toilet. Maybe I have complete ability to go to the bathroom myself without help. And how do I kindly indicate that to others if they insist on, if their pattern is to assist men, like to he's getting up to go to the bathroom, I need to get up No, thank you, but it's fine if I just do this on my own this one time. So it's also sort of encouraging other people to let go of their pre-created routines and actions, because mine are both mine are not fixed in stone, and theirs cannot be either.
Chris?
Thanks, Ben. That was a great talk. I've heard some of the shorter ones. That's the longest one I've heard that you've used was that CBD chat or one of those cloning devices. So I guess we've been friends and Dharma brothers for about 15 years, I think now. That's a long time. And
Yeah, 15 years of suffering with you.
Well, I hope I wasn't the cause of that suffering.
No, I was completely the cause.
Well, I was thinking when I was listening to that, man, it took me, it's been 15 years and I just got used to your voice exactly the way it is. And now you're going and changing it. So,
Yeah. You're on my
um,
mind a lot when doing that.
so don't worry about that other 20% because you have to have a little wabi-sabi in there. Otherwise, it'll probably be too perfect, too mechanical or something. So I think that's good.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's really shows your resilience and your uh, just willingness to just keep pushing forward, uh, even with the limitations you have. And of course, all of us that know you well know that your intentions are pure and have a good sense of what you're trying to convey to the Sangha and your dedication to the Sangha, and that's always good. Even when you were very ill last summer for several weeks, you still had that kind of fight. And at times it seemed pretty desperate. I know, and you're still putting in that effort to work past those limitations and those setbacks. So that was very inspiring. And yeah, this might be a good thing about technology. I think it's one of the best things I've seen with regard to a lot of this AI stuff looks pretty scary to me at times, but it's good to see that technology can also be a force of good and really help people express themselves. So, yeah. So thanks, Ben.
Aubrey?
Thank you.
First of all, I didn't notice the imperfections in the talk at all. More well-spoken than this probably will be. But I was thinking about how, in a way, we're all preparing to age and depend on others and have the utility of our bodies change drastically over time. And you have a head start and so much wisdom on how to deal with it with grace. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you. That was very nice. Yeah, that's something both myself and my sister Joko uh, talk and acknowledge about that these are things that everyone will have to deal with at some point. And oftentimes, Yoko has observed that that older people are often lumped in with people with disabilities, and that's honestly a little unfair, but it's also a little honest. So, like every good thing is kind of complex, and like we appreciate it, even though can sometimes be frustrating. Sorry, go ahead.
Svetlana? Charles, are you talking?
Something is muffled and I can't make it out either. Is somebody microphone is poor? Who's speaking?
Ben, when I'm listening, first of all, thank you profoundly.
Can you hear?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Oh, you can? Okay, good. Thank you so much for this beautiful, beautiful talk, Ben. And I hear you say that when we become aware of the patterns that could dull us, and that we are able to wake up. And I think you are saying, or I'm hearing, that you find a way, even though so many of your patterns are so limited, to find the life flow and the beauty in every little thing that you do. It reminds me of the Rumi poem, let the beauty we love be what you love be what you do. There's 1,000 ways to kneel and kiss the ground. So your talk reminded me of that line from Rumi.
I'm honored that I was able to remind you of, and I'm glad that I was able to touch you in that way.
Sherry?
Thanks, Ben, for that talk. It really reminded me about my patterns and how just staying awake, like Alana was saying, to every moment and showing up open, not expecting it's going to be the same thing that it was yesterday, or even dealing with people. I was thinking about projecting onto other people because, oh, we've seen this behavior before, instead of just coming open and curious and not knowing and just being able to experience and be present moment by moment. And it was just such a good reminder. Thank you so much.
That's also been a huge struggle for me. Like, just realizing the necessity of other people also going through these steps of realization towards understanding that this is a new moment, and this new moment is both the same and different from every other moment that we've experienced.
Well, and also you said you never know, you're more open to like, this could be my last moment, which we're all taking for granted that it's not, but none of us know if it's our last time we're going to be experiencing anything. And so to keep that preciousness of every moment closer to our intentions and how we want to behave that moment.
Exactly.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
I have a friend who has 1,000 minutes to live. She knows that in a little bit, she's going to have 999 minutes to live.
Rachel,
Good morning, Ben. Thank you for sharing yourself this morning. I feel like we don't know each other very well, but what I do know about you is, well, first of all, I want to thank you for your teaching. I've learned so much from you, even though we haven't shared conversation very much. I've learned this morning about the beautiful power, the really helpful, useful power of technology and the growing technology around AI. And what I heard you say is the amount of time, the hours that you have spent to try and hone and craft this technology to represent you by using your voice from before and having it learn, the intonations and the turn of phrase. Obviously you wrote that, but it's remarkable the amount of time you spent and the dedication to have it represent you for us. But what I know is that you are a heart on two legs, and you wear it on your sleeve. And I also learned that when words are challenging, like the actual emission of word talking is challenging, you use words really concisely and sharply, masterfully, to convey deep teachings in small amounts of words, like a poet. I'm honored to be in your Sangha. Thank you. Thank you for sharing with us today.
Thank you. And may I suggest the word you were looking for was deliberate?
Say it again. My earbud failed right at that second.
Deliberate.
Deliberate. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Yes. Deliberate. Thank you, Ben.
One of the things I find myself doing, like in everyday speech, is providing the word. I'd like to think I have a larger vocabulary, and I offer, like a lot of people struggle for words that they're searching for, and I often interject like the word that there is a word that they're possibly searching for, like deliberate or la. I do it with my mother by default.
Mhm.
A lot where she'll be searching for a word, and I'll know what she means, but she can't, for her own sanity. I need to provide the word she was searching for, and my sanity too, for that matter.
Mhm.
It's like I interject all the time with a single word, like or name or what have you.
Yeah. Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Ben, I just want to let you know that you're an inspiration. You've always been loving and kind. That's why I love my loving kindness. So I just wanted to say thank you and thank you for your talk. I've learned a lot.
Thank you, Susan. You'll be giving a talk later today that I'm very much looking forward to. As I understand it, some of it will be about loving kindness, and that is a very important aspect of my life, and I hope other people's lives as well.
Frank,
Ben, thank you so much for your talk and how much it reinforces for me that one of the techniques of becoming present in the moment is to be out of patterns.
Mhm.
Recognize that a pattern is going on. And I know that we all have patterns in our physical doings, certainly patterns of thinking. I can see that I think the same thoughts. And emotional reactions. I have patterns in my emotional response repertoire. Given a certain stimulus, the emotion that tends to be evoked is of that nature. It is a pattern. A technique I was introduced to a long time ago was a technique that was entitled Being Out of Patterns.
Mm.
And just to share some of the ones that I use, which are very simple, which because it causes in the body, discomfiture, doing that makes me remember that I'm going to try to be present to the thought patterns and the emotional patterns, particularly in meditation and in interactions that day. So some of the ones that I use and I have shared with others is simply for a day, if you're wearing a watch, to wear a watch on your other wrist. You will find that all day long, you look at the wrist where there's no watch. And that can wake me up. Another technique is brushing your teeth with the other hand. You'll see how that out of patterns does. If you put a belt on, putting the belt into the loops the opposite way. It just gives the sense of the weight of the patterns in the physical body. Putting your leg into the pant, the opposite pant leg than you normally do. Putting the other shoe on first. So just using a smattering of these during the day, for me, creates a presence of trying to remember to be in the moment. And it carries for a while into possibly seeing that I'm thinking the same pattern. I'm thinking the same way, and I can try to think out of patterns. And I can try to make an effort to respond with more presence in the emotions. And so this kind of technique can be used throughout the day with the idea that so much of it is pattern. And the gratitude to you, Ben, for bringing that to all of us and for everyone for sharing. And the thing that there are things that are not patterns that are rituals and ceremonies. So it's not a pattern that I'm here on Sunday. And I know that's true for everyone. You're not here because it's a pattern. You're here because it's something that is loving kindness for each other.
Right.
And love for the Sangha. And I love the Sangha. I love the Sangha. I love the Sangha. Thank you, Ben.
John.
Ben, I really appreciate the talk that you included. And I want to mention possible treatment, which I'm getting through Dr. Goodenow. And he treats MS, ALS, Parkinson's, and Alzheimer's. And the primary supplement he provides is called plasmalogens. And I've been taking that twice a day, and it's I think it's been helping me, and it might help you as well. And I'll send you a link to that.
Chris, again.
I just wanted to add something. Yeah, I appreciate, Ben, you're wanting to be concise about language, and I think that's can be very important, and to really convey what we want to say. And also what Frank was saying, one way you use language is through humor. And it kind of short circuits our expected response or our expected flow of conversation by interjecting humor the way you do kind of takes us off guard and kind of makes us pay attention and not take ourselves too seriously at the same time, which kind of shrinks the ego. Having said all that, and this is, I think, applies to John too. There's an old saying that it's not that important what we say, or it's not, people don't usually remember what we say, I think it is. It's how you make them feel. And you make us all feel loved and that we're cared for. And it's applies to you, John, and you, Ben. We'll always remember the way you make us feel.
I love you all. I love the song.
Frank, do you want to say anything?
Yes, I guess I do. Ben, thank you very much. And I just want to echo what everyone else has said, that we try in certain situations to be mindful. You know, for me, it's walking in the woods and doing a mindful meditation. And if I've stopped being mindful, then I stop, and maybe I take a step back, and then I keep going forward. And although that's helpful, I think what you've said is a lesson that I'm going to take to heart in terms of being more mindful with all of my actions, especially the ones that have become rote. And the other thing that I enjoyed in what you said is that in doing that and in your interactions with other people, then maybe it gives them an opportunity to be mindful. And then you can break really deep-seated patterns and hopefully have a positive impact on one another. So thank you for your positive impact on me today.
Jen?
Thanks. Thank you, Ben. I kept feeling the word, you said deliberate and concise has been said, and there's a beautiful density of impact in meeting, in the simplicity of that and the layers of that I really appreciate. So having raised 4 kids, routine is something that helps kids feel safe. And it was, a big part of, they know what to expect. And so there's something that, there's a calming part of that for me, for them as I was raising the kids, taking care of people. And you open a door to shuffling the deck in each moment. And I would agree with what's been said, is that the way you have impacted me today is the way you've made me feel about shuffling that deck, that it's a safe, comfortable, warm, loving feeling to shuffle the deck. So there's a message of the safety in shuffling and opening and changing the pattern. So thank you so much.
I wanted to say, so my cousin is visiting. She's in town for the next till the end of the month, and she works in pediatrics. And I was thinking about, like, with kids, because you're absolutely right. kids appreciate like the regularity and the consistency, but of interactions like that you being there, it or always being there provides a sense of reliability, but they also appreciate play. And I think like what the way I interacted with Chris, just sort of playfully harassing him and say, oh, it's been a hard 15 years knowing Chris, though it's not been at all. It's I look forward to seeing Chris all the time, but interspersing, interjecting that sense of play is really important to kids, and I think to all of us as we become older, we get used to our routines and we stop just playing with situations. Like, I know that I can be serious with Chris, and we can always have a very serious interaction, but playing him say it's been difficult being around you, Ben, for the last 15 years. I don't think that any more personally than he would. He takes my words, and I think it's important to understand that and to create that sense of resilience and power, because we can always go back to being serious.
Yeah, I have to add one real quickly. So I always thought Ben's sense of humor was kind of his own thing. But then one day I went to his house in Palo Alto. He lives in an in-law apartment kind of thing next to the house. But I didn't know the layout, so I went there and have a long beard and everything. And it's a nice neighborhood, so I start walking around the house trying to figure out where to go to see Ben. And I realized I went the wrong way, and I went all the way around the house the other way. Finally, I found it. And Ben's father was there, who he unfortunately passed away a little over a year ago. And so I introduced myself to his father and said, well, I was wandering around, looking for the entrance here, and thanks for not mistaking me for a prowler and shooting me. And he says, oh, I would never do something like that. It's way too messy. So now I know where Ben got a lot of his sense of humor from.
Yes.
Charles.
Ben, first of all, I want to thank you for a rather stimulating conversation. It generated thoughts in me, especially with the follow on by Frank, which I'll get to in just a moment. And also I want to apologize for that muddled sound. I had this idea in my mind last night that I wanted to be able to record my computer screen on my Mac along with the sound. And I ended up staying up till about 2:30 in the morning trying to figure this out. And it's not as, you know, on your TV, you just hit the record button, but on your computer screen, it's quite different. And it was quite a challenge. But anyway, I got it working. And as I was trying to test it, because I was just, anyway, we don't have to go any further on that one. And then the technology, you know, I would say the bulk of my working life studying voice technology. And I knew Kurzweil, the guy who does Kurzweil artificial intelligence and voice recognition and all this kind of stuff. And the technology that you presented, I thought was really interesting, fairly amazing. And I would say that we are on, I'll make a prediction, within the next several years, my thinking is that with a few second delay, you'll be able to do that in real time. So in other words, it might be a 2 or 3 or even 4 second delay, but you'll be able to speak and have it edited to sound pleasingly to other people in more or less real time. And the better the technology comes and the more proficient AI becomes, the quicker that time lag will shrink. And then we were talking about, or you were talking about patterns and out of patterns. And I just came up with a couple thoughts that I thought I would share, both what you said and that with what Frank followed on with. And I have 3 little thoughts here. First one, to realize we're asleep does not necessarily mean we're awake. And the second one is shifting between mechanical patterns in itself just another pattern. And the third one is the desire to become awake simply just another illusory pattern? Anyway, Ben, I want to thank you for your efforts. That was quite stimulating, and it actually made my mind work a little, of course, mechanically. Thank you.
I'm really inspired about what you said with recording on your computer. I've tried myself. That is incredibly difficult. It's far more difficult than one thinks it should be. So
then if you can contact me, my phone number is or my email is charles@tti.net. I will send you a couple of YouTube links that will enable you to do that. Okay. Charles@tti.net.
Yeah, and I can pass that on to you too, Ben. Angil.
Thanks very much, Ben. Yeah, very interesting use of technology, which I reiterate with the others, makes me a little bit more relaxed about AI, although I have much dread. Would you say something about people feeling pity and sorrow for you? I know many people who are ill can get quite angry with people that reflexly try to help them or feel sorry for them and things. And it would be really nice to hear your attitude, your insight into this. Thank you.
Yeah. So something my Dharmasis and I have both observed is that
Maybe Angel can mute?
Yeah. Okay.
is that since we're in wheelchairs, it's really common that we will be walking down the street or rolling down the street, and somebody will come up behind us and start pushing the wheelchair, which is very startling and off-putting. So yeah, we do have, it's a form of pity we don't really appreciate. I do appreciate somebody coming by and pausing and asking me, would you like some help? That feels really nice. And oftentimes I'll start having conversation with them. But yeah, I guess when people just start helping, especially if it's not appreciated or desired, I just try to put myself in their place and think about how much I want to help others and just sort of bask in the universality of that tendency that as humans we love and appreciate other people without even knowing it. Like, we're not going around kicking other people. That would be really exhausting to do. And it would not be appreciated.
Keith.
Hey, Ben. Thank you for your talk. As always, great insight. And I want to echo a lot of things everyone else says. And as I've gotten to know you over the last year and a half, I just want to say it's an honor. I'm looking forward to being ordained by Doug and having you be my Dharma brother. And I was thinking during your talk, or when I think about you, I think about the last time that we came to your house and we went for a walk to the park, and you and I were talking about, you know, a lot of the things we had in common growing up, and we were ripping on Doug, giving him a little bit of a hard time because, you know, that was but your sense of humor is just always inspiring to me. And one thing I'd like to share with the group is, you know, when we were walking from Ben's house to the park, every car, you know, we kind of go in the road, the sidewalk's all lumpy and bumpy, so we walked kind of the side of the road, and you would look into the windshield of every car that passed and just give a little bow and a gosh show and kind of make contact, and it was just moving to me to see that, and how you really took the time to be present and gosh show with every car that passed. And the other thing that I think I struggle with and that I could learn from you is, you know, the old adage or the old Buddhist saying that pain is inevitable, but, you know, suffering is avoidable. And I don't see you adding, you know, you've obviously deal with some pain, but you don't add suffering to it. And that's a great role model for me. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you. And I'm sure I do occasionally add suffering to my pain, but I try not to on a regular basis. So it's really inspiring to hear that I come off as not adding suffering. So
Absolutely.
yeah. Thank you.
Doug? Oh, thanks. Thank you, Ben. That was, I think that Rachel's and Charles's responses were particularly similar to some things that were coming up for me. One is that thought-provoking feeling that all that you've shared and what's been shared has been thought-provoking in a good way, or inquiry provoking for me. But the thing, so there's so many things I could comment on. I'll just see what comes up. The two things that are echoing in my mind, seemingly random little phrases or words that were spoken. One was from the very beginning when you talked about your friend that was going to give a Dharma talk also. And you used the word that she was going to give a talk on her wayfinding mind. And I thought, oh, that's perfect. I think that's what you said. So, but that's what I heard. And I feel like that's what we can do for each other, is we can report on, hey, what's it like from here? What's it like to, or way seeking, you said way seeking, and I thought way seeking and way finding, and we are all reporting on that. And there's no way that we can know somebody's point of view unless we really inquire and they share. And so I feel like a lot of the theme today has been like, hey, what's it like to be you with the disability, and people trying to help when they don't stop to say, what's it like for you? Do you want help? And just that sort of simple to understand example that of how important it is for us to know that we have our point of view that can be very clear and come to our really important conclusions of our own wisdom and experience, and it's still ours. It's not necessarily applicable to someone else, and if we don't really understand that, that's not going to be conducive to, I don't know, collective wisdom or something. And another thing that you said, which again, I think I heard you say, but what I heard was like, I think you said like most, it's complex, like most good things, something along those lines. It's like, yeah, we can get all excited about patterns and breaking patterns, and that's good. And it's complex, like children, like what is it? Safety, what, you know, patterns are how nature even happens, you know. So to hold all the things that we're talking about as complex, like to not conclude things too much in our minds. And then to what Rachel had reflected, it's like, I don't know you very well. And also maybe the word deliberate, like the deliberate nature of the necessity for you to be deliberate in the choice of words, and just every word counts. And I've learned so much from you and feel, yeah, it's really fun to have experienced this moment in the Sangha where we get to learn from you and open up the inquiries that you have presented. So thank you.
And I hope there's an element of play that arises as well, because that's where a lot of the inspirations come, to do something a little different.
Nice. Thank you.
Hi. Yeah, I just wanted to say I was so impressed with that AI voice. I was like, wow, that's pretty amazing that you were able to put that together. I mean, it just sounds very accurate. I didn't know it was that that you could do that yet. That was really interesting. And yeah, you're obviously just so present, and you have such a great sense of humor, and you're able to contribute on quite a few levels in spite of any challenges. And I just feel that it's very inspiring, and it's just it's a beautiful display of kind of an inner alignment with the truth and love. And thank you for your presence here.
David?
A couple of things come up to me. I use the word Ben, appreciation, and I think I might have said this before because it's like one of my 3 pieces of wisdom. I like to try to focus on or think about that happiness in life is appreciating what you have when you have it. And I was reflecting on your toilet talk, as it were, and thinking about when I had shoulder surgery and couldn't use my primary hand for 12 weeks and what that was like. And it's just another reminder to appreciate what you have when you have it. The other thing, I hate to alarm everybody, but you should check out some YouTubes of AI. You can take a video clip of you and use it to train the AI, and then have the AI basically mimic you and say anything you type in. And you can also have a conversation with an AI, and it has an avatar, which looks is a person, and isn't a person. It's a creation, but you will think it's a person, and you can talk to it, and you'll think you're talking to a person. We saw a number of years ago deep fakes, and that's part of what's coming. And there's both good and bad in it. It is alarming, and also fascinating. But more importantly, thank you for your talk and that word appreciation. And yeah, I think about I like to say every day without pain is a good day. I hope you all have a good day.
Thank you. And you're absolutely right about the fear that arises in me, and I believe almost everyone. And when AI mimics us so perfectly, I'm going to call out Chris because he inspired in me, making sure that that last bit of my talk that I say very clearly that this is an AI voice of me, but it's my own written words, because I recognize that fear, and honestly, there's a little bit of subversiveness in doing that with an AI voice, because over time, over duplication, a duplicate of duplicate will have more errors in it that we can detect. So I subversively use my own AI voice. So in the future, if they try to use it to duplicate my own voice, it's not going to work as well. So, I mean, unfortunately, it'll still be pretty good, but it will slowly go down to not working at all the more times they create duplicate with my duplicate. So, that will come around. I'm going to safely predict the future. It'll come around in a couple 1,000 years. But I'm just as the brush of an eagle's wing on a mountainside is a kalpa and time with that, fully being able to recognize it. And so eternity, just as we cannot truly exist in eternity. Well, like, I'm acknowledging that in a sense we do exist in eternity. Again, one of those hybrid thoughts of both good and bad, like that arise throughout Buddhism.
Daryl, are you here? Do you want to say anything? Or is it just you here, Susan?
I'm here.
Yeah, good. Hi, Daryl. You want to?
Everyone.
Like to hear you.
I've always been a guy of few words, so I'm just appreciating Ben's talk. I had the opportunity of knowing him for a few years, and we are members of the same Sangha, Zenke Sangha. Jana is our teacher, or was our teacher, and I appreciate him. I appreciate his struggle and his effort in moving along the path. So again, thank you, Ben.
Thank you, Daryl.
Good. I think you want to say something? Okay. Okay. I got two announcements. One is at the Oakland House, we got nearly 140 rose bushes, and my brother, who's an arborist and adept rose pruner, is coming next Friday and Saturday. And anybody's welcome to stop by and I don't know, pitch in or learn a little bit from him. That's what I'm going to do. The second thing is March 1st is a Saturday, and we're going to hold a Zazen Kai on that day at the Oakland House. So we'll put up a schedule later on that. So that's what I got. Let's close with, may our intentions equally penetrate every being and place with the true merit of the Buddha way. Beings are numberless, we vow to save them. Delusions are inexhaustible, we vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless, we vow to enter them. The Buddha way is unsurpassable, we vow to be it. So thank you all, have a good Sunday. Super Bowl Sunday, I guess.